Hello everyone, Prasad Amonkar, a real estate consultant and real estate coach. Continuing with the story, there is one word which is very essential in real estate, and it is always said that not to use this word. You must have heard some people saying during that conversation, "Trust me." Now that's the time wherein you are like you have been looked at in doubt. All this while, whatever you talk, you are actually giving a correct information. Why is it that we stress on this word, "Trust me, if you buy this property you will benefit"? No, nothing like that. Also, when it comes to property, it's not basically on the word. If I buy one land or if I buy one apartment or any property, I have to purchase it on paper, not verbally, and whatever we mention on the agreement counts. Now there was one company in Goa which was my client, and they had sold one property to one of my client only. Now while purchasing the property, there was a terms and conditions which was agreed. I was coordinating with the manager of the particular company. On the purchaser side as well, I was coordinating with the direct buyer. So coordination was between, so there was no other agent involved or there was no third party involved. I was the person who was coordinating on behalf of the company and to the purchaser. Now these are very small things, but it is very essential. The company manager was working for the company, obviously. So whatever he communicates, it's not him, it's the company which communicates to the person. So if one particular clause, when we were discussing, the purchaser had no issues with that particular clause. Now, and the manager of the company also had no issues. It was more of an understanding between the manager and the purchaser. But I had issues. Why? Because I know the manager will not remain in that particular organization throughout his life. He may change his job, he may get another job, he may leave the organization as well, or he may get kind of promoted in the same company. So his profile may change or anything can happen. Now in that particular state, after 10 years, if there is some issue arises in the property, he cannot go back to that manager and question him. He can only question on email, he can question on paper, legal notices. Everything goes to the company. It doesn't go to one particular person. So I had issues in they accepting to the terms and conditions verbally. It was always on paper. So I demanded it on paper. I demanded that clause to be added in the paper, not any understanding. Because tomorrow, maybe after 2 years or 3 years or 5 or 10 years, if we any issue comes, we should be okay to settle it. Because what is read on the paper is more important. So after 10 years also, if I say, okay, this is all the terms and conditions, it's written on the paper. So that's how it goes. So even for example, there was another company wherein there was a lease agreement. So in lease agreement, again, the company to company, everything goes on the paper. They take a lot of time. Their lawyers take a lot of time to understand the terms and conditions. Then only they will decide. They will not do anything in a hurry. Even similarly, for a real estate agent, you cannot do everything in a hurry. Oh, okay, the terms and conditions are mentioned is agreed, and now let's arrive at the signing of the leave and license agreement or a deed of lease. No, it doesn't happen that way. Normal leave and license agreement, when it comes to residential or small offices, that is fine because it's just 11 months leave and license agreement. That can be considered. But even then, everything mentioned on the paper is important. You cannot trust. Trust is not the word. It's about trusting the paper. Because if any dispute arises, you will be taken to the court. And the court will not assume what you have assumed. The court will see what is mentioned. The court wants everything to be seen on the paper. So what is written on the paper is very, very, very important. So before coming to a conclusion, or you as a real estate agent, you must educate the buyer and seller about this. Sometimes so happens that the buyer is okay, ठीक है, अपना ही आदमी है, and seller is also fine, ये अपना ही आदमी है, हमारा ही है, इसको दे सकते हैं, we can trust him. No, When I give my property on the rent, even that time also I am very particular about writing everything on the leave and license agreement, so that tomorrow I should not have any problem with my tenant. So always maintain that you as a buyer or seller, or you as a real estate agent, this has to be a practice. So it has to be a part of your policy, that no matter what, I will not change this policy. And when you make it as a habit, it remains. The habit habit always remains, because you are aware of what you are doing. Initially you may have some objections from the clients, so you may have some objections from your fellow colleagues as a real estate agent, like, why are you being so rigid, why are you not flexible, why you have to be flexible? Because see, ultimately it's not your property as a real estate agent, it is somebody else's. So you need to justify even at the last moment. See, after 3 years or after 5 years, they will not remember what we spoke, what was the verbal communication. They will always remember what is written. And then they might blame you, the buyer and seller might blame you as a real estate agent. What did you do? You were a mediator. Sometimes so happen that there is one more story wherein one of the client had done the leave and license agreement for 11 months, and after 11 months the client did not renew, and I was not involved, I wasn't mentioned, but he continued staying there. He was of course paying the monthly rent regularly, thank God. But at the time of exiting, there is no clause, because there is no paper, there is no document. So you as a real estate, as a buyer or a seller or a tenant or the owner of the property, you may involve the agent again in the next year for getting your agreements done. It would hardly cost you anything, or sometimes the agent will do it for you on a goodwill. So that's fine. So you always involve your agents, or agents always stick to the documents. Even if you are selling a property, see that the title is clear, initial screening is done at your end. You should know how to read a title document. You must know at least something from the title document. You are not a lawyer, but before even showing the property, if you have some knowledge, fantastic. So anything regarding the leave and license agreement or deed of lease, you want to know, you have some questions and you want me to answer them, please comment below, and of course like my YouTube channel, like these videos which I send you, so that I get inspired to send you more and give you more solution for a real estate agents, real estate brokerage business. Have a great day. Thank you.